वेलकम टू दिस एपिसोड ऑफ द हरप्रीत सिंह शो। थोड़ा मेरा साथ होंगे मंडे टू फ्राइडे सवेरे 8 तो लैके 9 बजे तक, मंडे टू थर्सडे रात ਨੂੰ 10 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 11 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅਤੇ ਸੈਟਰਡੇ ਨੂੰ 2 ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਣੇ ਦੁਪਹਿਰ 2 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 3 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਤ 8 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 9 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹਰ ਸ਼ਨੀਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ 1 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 1:30 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਵਿਸ਼ਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਣੇ ਆ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਸੁਜ਼ੂਕੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੋਂ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਇੰਗੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਿਸਟ ਹਨ ਵੈਸਟਰਨ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ। ਸੋਫਿਕਾ ਕੋਸਟਨਿਊਕ ਜੋ ਹਨ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਓਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਖਤਰਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਇਸ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸੋਫੀਆ ਨਾਲ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you so much, Harpreet. It's a pleasure to be
Same
here.
here. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the oceans, and David Suzuki Foundation has been spearheading this movement whereby trying to create awareness amongst the public that the time has come when we need to think on these particular issues. And oceans are a major part of our world, you know. And when we see that there is a major threat to the oceans also, so what do you mean by that?
Yes, absolutely. So the oceans cover the majority of the Earth's surface, and Dr. David Suzuki has been working on these issues of ocean protection and environmental protection for over 20 years with the foundation. Very early on, he identified that the oceans are a critical piece of the health of our environment. So what we dedicate quite a lot of our program work to is ensuring that the fisheries that are in the oceans, the surrounding ecosystems, the communities that are based on the coast, and the industries that are based on fisheries in the oceans are sustainable and last for a long time.
Okay, so when we talk about the ecosystem, what do you feel? What's happening to the ecosystem right now? Like what we are hearing, even the Arctic side also, all the glaciers are melting, and things are not good as Mr. Suzuki has been highlighting in the past. But now people have started giving some thought to this particular aspect also. So when we talk about the ecosystem being fragile now, what do we mean by that?
Well, everything on this planet is interconnected. What we do, our choices that we make every day matter. They make an impact. We're seeing certainly now large changes from global climate change, from long-term industrial pollution that's just been running off into our oceans, that's changing the chemistry of the oceans, that's changing the quality of the ocean, the temperatures of the ocean, and this all affects the fish and the other plant life that's in the ocean. So it's certainly a big area of concern, and when we see changes in the oceans, that's a real reflection of what we're doing to our planet. We're not isolated from our oceans, we're actually a part of this larger system.
Very true. Everything is interdependent, that's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So with the surveys which are coming forward and the research which is being done, if you can let us know a little bit, as a layman, the viewer who is watching the program today, what should they be concerned of?
One of the biggest threats globally right now is the change in the water levels around the world, and we're seeing all of these island nations that are facing very imminent threats where they're located. The level of their land is very close to the level of the surface of the water. So as soon as there's even a small change in the height of the water level, they're completely threatened. People will be homeless, land will be wiped out. So that, I would say, in the next several decades is going to be the largest issue that many people around the world will be facing.
Right. And again, what are the major contributing factors to the rise in the water level in the oceans?
The most current science is certainly indicating that global warming has been the major cause behind all of this, and that has been just long-term industrial pollution that has led to changes in our atmosphere that's affecting changes in the ocean.
Right. You also talked about the fisheries also there, that also is in danger. So how is that pollution which is being dumped into the oceans, is that having an impact, or the ecological balance which is being changed, that is having an impact?
It's all of that, and also global warming again is changing the acidity level in the water, which fish are obviously very, very sensitive to, just like we're very sensitive to changes in our environment, in the air, and the water that we consume and the air that we breathe. So fish are very sensitive to that. When there are even small fluctuations, that can completely completely change their reproductive capacity. It can change the habitats where they live. It'll change the food systems that they're dependent upon. So
Right.
it's quite a big concern.
Right. So how is David Suzuki Foundation creating that kind of awareness whereby people become aware that of what they are doing that is having an impact on the oceans, and ultimately they're the ones who are going to suffer?
It's true. We will, and we have started to suffer, but I believe that life for Canadians is still, it's quite a high quality of life. So we haven't come to a crisis point here as we see it.
Right.
But in other parts of the world, as I mentioned, people are already starting to feel those effects. What we try to do at the David Suzuki Foundation is help Canadians understand that their everyday actions matter.
Right.
The amount that they drive to and from work, to and from their, their communities and their shops and their schools, that matters. All of these emissions are going into the environment. The
Right.
types of industries that Canada is promoting and standing behind, it depends. If they have a lot of emissions as well, then that will change our environment. Large-scale agriculture also, what is that doing to the quality of our soil and our water?
Right.
If it's running off into local streams, that will affect those systems as well.
Right. So what you are saying is, generally when we talk with people, the general thing is, oh, the governments are doing this, governments are doing that. So what you're trying to say is that every action what you are taking as an individual does have an impact on the environment, so be careful about that.
That's what we're saying. We want Canadians to begin to understand that they are a part of this planet. Everything's interconnected. Their choices matter.
Right.
Where they shop matters. What they do on a daily basis matter. What industries they support matter, and what politicians they elect
Right.
ultimately matter, because they make decisions for
Absolutely.
the country.
But that is it, that the people have to talk about these issues, then only the
Yes.
politicians will listen.
That's
so
right.
with all this advocacy which is being done by David Suzuki Foundation, what do you feel, how much impact is that having, and are the people now waking up from their slumber and have they started thinking on these issues? And in the coming years, and also especially the South Asian community which is watching the program today, what would be your message to them?
My message to people would be my hope would be for people to sit up and listen. And that's really what I'm tasked with at the David Suzuki Foundation as a public engagement specialist, is to bring the issues that we're tasked with pursuing every day to the Canadian public, and making it interesting, accessible, fun, and sometimes challenging to address, but just getting these conversations going in communities and schools and families.
Right.
And raising the dialogue within Canada. Easy things that you can do is, take an alternative form of transportation to work once a week.
Right.
Ride your bike, take the bus, carpool with someone. Your food choices matter. I specifically focus much of my attention on sustainable seafood.
Right.
So the type of food that you choose to purchase matters. It has an impact in the water and on the fisheries, and on various fish operations. So there's a lot that every individual can do to collectively make a difference in Canada.
Wonderful. And when you talk about sustainable seafood, I would like to discuss this particular topic in a separate episode. It was a
Wonderful.
pleasure having you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.